Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to create a coffee shop application which serves as a menu for a coffee shop. So basically what we are trying to do is that we are trying to design an interactive menu for a coffee shop, and it is basically going to be an Android application wherein the user could actually go through various categories of coffees. He could look at the product description and he could select any coffee which he wants. So the first thing which we need to do is that we need to create a new Android Studio project. So simply select a new Android Studio project and let's name this application as, let's say, Coffee Buzz. Then once we have the application name, simply click next. Select the API level 15, click next and select a blank activity. And let the name of your main activity be main activity. And as you could see, our project is ready. Now the next thing which we need to do is that in order to make this thing look attractive, what we are going to do is that we are going to download some images from the internet so as to make our application look attractive. Now I have stored my images inside the coffee folder. So if we have a look at these images, so these are the images which we'll be working with. So I would suggest you that you download some copyright free images from the internet and make sure that you have these images in the PNG format. Now chances are most of the time the images which we are going to use are going to be present in the JPEG format, but we actually want the images into the PNG format. So in order to solve this issue, what you could do is that as you could see, I have an image here which is present in the JPEG format. So if we go to properties, as you could see, this image is present in the JPEG format. Now in order to convert this image into a PNG format, what you could do is that you could simply right click on it, click on edit, and as you could see, this is our image right here. And now what you simply need to do is that you need to go to file, go to save as, and we have various options here. So instead of JPEG, what we are going to do is that we are going to select the option as PNG and we are going to store it on the desktop. So if we save here and if we return back to desktop, as you could see, we have now two images. So if we right click on the second image and go to properties, as you could see, we now have the image in the PNG format. So once we have the image in the PNG format, we could go ahead and use that image in our application. So what I did is that I have downloaded these images and I have converted them into PNG format so that they could be used in our application. And also make sure that you name these images so that it will be easy for you to use these images into your Android app. So the next thing which we do is that we simply copy these images. So I select them all, simply click copy, and we then return back to our Android Studio and go to drawable folder, and we are going to paste these images right over here. So simply click OK, and as you could see, now we have all the three images into our drawable folder. Now the next thing which we need to do is that as we are going to design a coffee shop application, we actually need a certain class which is going to handle the items which we are going to provide in our coffee shop. So the first thing which we do is that we create a new class so as to handle the items. So in order to create a new class, we go to the Java folder, and from these two folders we select the folder which contains our main activity. So we simply right click on it, go to new and select a new Java class. And in this class we are actually going to various attributes of a particular product which we are offering, and we are also going to associate some methods within it. So as we are providing some drinks into our coffee shop, let's name this class as drinks. So we type drinks and click OK, and as you could see, we now have our main class which is called as drinks, and we could type in the code in your class. And also make sure that you delete the unnecessary stuff which is displayed right over here. So it basically displays the author name and the date, so make sure that you delete it. And the next thing which we do is that we go ahead and write in some code into this class. So in our case, what we want to do is that for every drink we want to have a particular name, and we also need to mention the description of a particular drink. For example, what that particular drink contains. And finally, we need to have an image associated with the drink so that we could display the image of a particular product. Now in order to do so, we create three variables. So let's go ahead and create some variables. So we type private. Then in order to store a name, let's create a string variable. So we type private string name. So this is the variable for storing the name of a drink. Then we have a variable for storing the description. So we type private string, let's name it as DESC. And the third variable which we want to create is going to be used in order to store the ID of an image. So we type private int and let's name it as image ID. So once we have these three variables ready with us, now let's go ahead and create an array for drinks. So in order to create an array for drinks, if you're familiar with Java, you will understand what we are typing in. So the first thing which we need to do to create an array is that we type public static final, and after final we specify the array name which we want to use. So we type drinks, then use this notation which is square brackets for an array, and then type in drinks. So this array right here is going to be of the drink types. So we type this equals, and inside curly brackets we are going to specify the elements which we want in an array. So basically in this array we are going to store multiple drinks which has the properties as name, description and image ID. So we create a first product in our array. So we type new drinks, and inside this we are going to specify the parameters for the drinks. So the first parameter is going to be the name of the drink, the second parameter is going to be the description, and finally we are going to have the ID of the drink. So let's go ahead and add some parameters to this drinks. So the first thing which we need to add is going to be the name. So let's add a name as latte. So this is for the latte, and let's add a description like instead of adding in a description, let's say this is a description for latte. So at the moment we are going to use a simple sentence like this so as to understand. And now for the image ID, we want to specify the ID for latte. So if we switch back to our drawable folder, as you could see, this is the latte image which we are going to use. So here we need to specify the ID of the image. So we type r dot, and as the image is present in the drawable folder, we type r.drawable, then finally the image name which is latte. So we are going to do the same for all the other three drinks. So we simply copy this and paste it here. So this is going to be for the second one, and this is going to be for the third one. So now let's go ahead and change the parameters which are present in there. So for the second one, instead of latte, we are going to have cappuccino. So we type cappuccino, and let's say this is the description for cappuccino. So we remove this latte by cappuccino and change this ID to cap, which is an image for cappuccino. And the final one is for a filter coffee. So we are going to replace this latte by filter and replace this by filter as well. Or instead of filter, here we need to mention the image for the filter. So we are going to use this beans image right over here. So we type beans over here, and as you could see, it is showing us an error, and that is because we always need to define a constructor for such type of declarations. So let's go ahead and declare a constructor. So in order to declare a constructor, we type private drinks, and we are going to specify the parameters as name, description and image ID. So we type string name as the first parameter, string description as the second parameter, and the final parameter is going to be the image ID. So we type integer image ID, and inside this constructor we are actually going to assign the values for all these three. So we type this dot name equals name, then we type this dot description equals description, then finally we type this dot image ID equals image ID. And once it is done, we are good to go. And I did a simple mistake here. There should not be a semicolon right here. That is because it is parameters, and I by mistakenly have given a semicolon as a separator. So make sure that you use commas over here. So that was my mistake there. And also this should be DESC for description. So once everything is set up, we are good to go. And now the next thing which we are going to do is that we are going to add in some methods over here. So the first method which we are going to add is going to be the get description. The next one is going to be the get name. The third one is going to be the get image resource, and finally the toString method. So let's go ahead and add in some methods over here. So the first method is going to be the get description method. So we type public, then we type string, as this method is going to return the string value. Then we type get description, and inside it we simply type a single statement to return a description. So we type return description. So this is the get description method. Then we have a next method for get name. So we type public string, this is for get name, so we type public string get name, and we simply return the name, so we type name here. And the next method is going to be for the image resource or the image ID, so we type public, this is going to be of the type int, and we type get image ID, and inside it we actually return the ID which we get, so we simply type return image ID. And the final method which we are going to use is going to be the toStrings method. So we type public, then we type string, as this method is going to return a string, and then finally the toString method, and inside this method we type return this dot name. And once we are done with this, we are good to go, and we have successfully set up a class for our drinks. So that's it for this tutorial, and in the next tutorial we'll be actually designing the layout of our application, and we are going to make it look good. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.